All right, welcome to Dunny Making 101. So, to start your dunny, you are going to wedge a piece of clay and then you are going to block it by laying it on the table and turning it on its sides. You want it to be wider at the bottom and a little narrower at the top, because this is going to be the bottom where the feet are going to be, and then this is going to be the head. The overall size can be anywhere from 4.5 to 6 inches. That's the best size. So once you've got it blocked up, you're going to take a large loop tool and you are going to take the loop tool and slide it through the center, removing a triangular piece of clay. You're then going to take your middle and index finger and your thumb, and you're going to squeeze the leg, creating a cylinder, and then you're going to turn it and do the same thing on the other side. We're going to be working this project 3 in the round, so you want to make sure that all your sides are looking good, even, and relatively symmetrical. So then, after you have roughed out your legs, you take your palms and you squeeze the clay forward and then turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. So it will look like this. Pretty funky, but we're not done. So then you start to smooth the clay, rounding the form, and you're going to start making the distinctive Dunny or Munny silhouette.
Show us what that looks like.
What
you got right now.
Oh, so we're starting to have that. All right. Then you're going to turn it around and you're going to smooth it over again, working the clay up the side of the dunny, the front of the dunny, or the back of the dunny. At this point, it doesn't matter. And you are rounding out the form. So sideways, you can start seeing this little butt and its little tummy, which is part of the whole dunny silhouette. So then you're going to start rounding out the head. You might need to paddle it at this point to help you get that shape. And proportionally, if the head is too small, which it looks like it is, it's just a little bit too small, we can try moving some clay up. But if that's still not going to work, then we have extra clay somewhere. Here we go. Extra clay. Which we're going to add to both sides to give it that not quite Stewie from Family Guy head shape, but fairly substantial head. And remember, we're not making a realistic person. We're making a toy that is a very distinctive shape, and that's what we're trying to replicate. Okay, so now we're going to take a rubber smoother. We're going to smooth it out a little bit. We're not going to do a final smoothing because our next step is to cut it in half. And it does not have to be perfect at this point. You want to just have the shape roughed in. All right. Now, don't also worry if your legs are starting to squish. The weight of the body is going to lessen so that when you hollow it out, it won't keep squishing the legs. And they can be the cylindrical shape they're supposed to be. So then you take the clay wire and you cut it in half. And then you are going to cut out approximately 1/2 inch around the form. So we don't, remember, the rule is nothing can be over 1/2 inch thick when you are working with clay. You want to remember that rule. So you're going to cut out a little extra in the tummy and a little extra in the front of the face. Not too much, don't get too thin or it's going to be unstable. So I went a little crazy right here, so I'm going to add a little bit more clay back in, and all you do is just take the clay, blend it in, don't press too hard, you don't want to distort your shape.
Miss Ray, do we hollow out the legs?
We do not hollow out the legs.
Why?
Because if we hollow out the legs, it will collapse. So we are going to vent the legs though, and that is how we keep them from blowing up. So I will show you how to do that in just a sec. So we have our piece hollowed out. We've checked the diameter and the width to make sure it's not too thick or thin. Now we're going to score it, and we're going to slip it back together. Now if your clay is too wet, I would recommend letting your clay firm up a bit before you hollow it out, because it can lead to it being unstable. But you obviously don't want to wait until it's too dry, or when you put it back together it's not going to stick. Alright, so take your slip, put your slip all the way around, nice and gooey. Alright, a little more right here. Then we're going to line it up so that it fits back together. And then we are going to blend it. Mrs. Sellers, could you get me a wooden thumb, please? So, using this tool, I'm using the wooden knife side. We're going to just make sure that seam line is really secure. Then we're going to lift it up. We're going to make sure those feet are smooth together, because if they're not, it's going to crack, and that's not something we want.
So in order for it to be fully combined together, you don't want to see that seam line at all. There should be no line showing.
Nope, no line showing. And if it starts showing after you put it back together, you take your wooden knife, you go back over the seam, you break that crack so that it doesn't keep forming in the same place, and you smooth it back down so that it's nice. Okay, so the feet. How do we vent the feet? So you're going to take a tool. I'll just use this one since it's here. Or I normally would use the handle of a paintbrush. Cool. Use the handle of a paintbrush, and you're going to angle in so that the feet vent through, the whole body are venting through the bottom, and the feet are now have a place so that the steam, when it forms, can leave the body, and it's all going down for the same thing. Okay, now we're going to take the rubber smoother, and we are going to smooth this puppy out. So just take it, be gentle, but not too gentle. You don't want to distort your form, but you want to smooth those rough edges at the same time. All right, so this is where I would stop, because I want to let this firm up a little bit before I work on it a little bit more. And I just want to make sure that my tummy and the bottom are appropriately formed. Okay, so this one I did earlier, and it is slightly firmer. So now we're going to start the indentation for the head. So you just push in with your thumb and smooth it back, and that's going to give you your distinctive Munny silhouette for the face. So it always has a little indentation. It always has this almost muzzle, and then the eyes would go up here. Then to make the arms, you're going to need 2 pieces of clay, the same size, And don't throw away the stuff that you hollowed out from the center, because you can use it for the arms, you can use it for the ears, you can use it for all different kinds of things. All right, so we're gonna make a coil. It's taking forever. Then we're going to measure off 2 equal pieces. So you want the arm to come forward slightly, so that is about 2.5 inches. So I'm going to make 2.5 inch, there it is, 2.5 inch coils. This one's quite a bit thicker. I'm just going to roll it out a little bit. Okay. Then you're going to take the coil and you're going to just give it a little extra pressure on the end. Then you smooth the bottom, making it a teardrop form.
So now one shape is going to be skinnier at the top, or one side is going to be skinnier at the top,
so
and the other end will be wider.
Kind of teardrop. At least that's what I call it. Then, once you have the end where the hand is going to be smoothed out, you're going to take a paintbrush, you're going to press it in, and you're going to push the clay around the end. And then, so you'll have 2 arms that look like this. Then we're going to score them.
And you score all points of contact.
Yep. And I don't like having my arms detached I like to have them attached as much as possible, because the last thing I want is for them to fall off. So I'm going to smooth it on. And remember, we're trying to create the look of a shoulder. So we're not just sticking them on there. So we're going to take our hand and we're going to blend in the shoulder so that it looks like it's joined to the body. I'm going to do that on the other side too.
Can you hold that up when you're done? A little bit closer. The back side.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
So it looks like that. So these are not just attached, they are looking like they came out of the torso. So then we're going to take our wooden thumb again, and we're going to just attach a little bit of the clay, and we're going to smooth it down.
So right now Miss Ray is pulling clay from the inside of the arm and attaching that clay to the belly and the shoulder of the Munny.
Then I'm going to do the same thing underneath and then smooth it out. So having a little sponge with some water in a cup so you can just dip your finger in it is my secret weapon. Not so secret, really. And it really does help you smooth as you're going along. So here's the feet. They've kind of squished and made just these kind of big paddles. So again, you want to reform them so that they're cylinders and not these big weird things. Also, sometimes your Munny or Dunny will tend to lean forward or lean back, and you'll get these weird up curves. You really want to make sure you get rid of those before you fire.
How do we get flat feet to make it stand flat?
I like to just go like this and just level it out with that. All right, so now we have ears. Now, you can make it a Munny, which is a monkey, or you can make it a Dunny, which is a bunny. So to make a bunny ear, we do basically the same thing we did with the arm, only a little smaller. You're gonna kind of gauge the size. And again, try to make both of these at the same size, same time. There's nothing like trying to replicate it once it's already on the form. So like I made this one a little bit bigger. So then trim it. And then we're gonna score and slip them on. I think those are too big. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So then you score it. Score it. A little more slip. I think those are too big. They're kind of giant.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. And then you're gonna do the same thing over here. I always like to attach a little bit of the piece to the form. It stabilizes it. And then, just because I do not want those ears going anywhere, I'm gonna take a little coil, I'm gonna wrap it, and I'm gonna blend it.
Hold that up so we can see that. Yeah.
Oops, my arm just fell off. Nothing like trying to do this really fast.
I know.
All right, so we're gonna blend that in. And then, oh, those are way too big.
Haircut.
There we go. Then you want to round out the ears so that they look like bunny ears. So that would be a bunny. So that is a Dunny, which stands for devil bunny or dumb bunny, depending on which Wikipedia source you look at. And then to make the monkey ears, you're going to take 2 balls of clay and you're going to make them into balls. And then you literally, if your fingers are a little damp, it helps. Squeeze it and then curve it so that it makes a little flat ear. So we're going to amputate these ears. Bam, bam. And then the monkey ears would be scored and slipped down here. So you'd add on the monkey ear. And make sure you blend your attachment point on both sides just so it looks better. Just looks better. All right, so then at that point, once you've got your ears on, you can start decorating and adding eyes, which they can be 3D, or you can do something simple like just putting in 2 little indentations. It really depends on the character that you're trying to develop and what you want it to do. So this is a former student of mine. He dropped the class, or he moved before he could finish this. And I was lucky enough to get it. So this is a samurai. And so you can see that even from this basic form, the sky's the limit. And you can go crazy with these things and make super fun characters. Yeah. So, and you can see that he's followed the little silhouette. And he has his little tummy. He has the arms. He has his little butt, his little booty. So, and did a really nice job with adding the clothing on. So you really can see that it is a samurai. I think that's it. Yeah.